Don't sign anything, please. The young nurse whispered, her hands shaking. If you value your life, walk away, right now. That was the moment I realized this hospital wasn't here to save people. It was here to erase them. The hospital hallway smelled like disinfectants and fear. I remember that clearly. White walls, flickering lights, the distant echo of machines remained steady, calm, almost reassuring. But nothing about that place felt calm, not to me. Not anymore. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, paperwork resting on my lap, flipping through pages filled with words I barely understood. Consent. Authorization. Release. The kind of words people sign without reading, because they trust the system. Because they're tired, because they're scared. That's when she walked in. She couldn't have been older than 23. Petite. Pale. Dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept in days. Her name badge read, Emily R.N. She closed the door behind her a little too carefully, like she was afraid someone might hear. She didn't smile. Instead, she looked at the papers in my hand and froze. Her eyes widened. Please, she whispered, barely moving her lips. Don't sign anything. I laughed nervously. What? She stepped closer, her voice shaking. I'm serious. If they bring you more documents, don't sign them. Not yet. I stared at her. Why? It's just hospital stuff, right? Her throat tightened. I saw her swallow hard, like she was fighting tears. I shouldn't be saying this, she said. If anyone finds out. She glanced at the door. Then back at me. They're not telling you everything. The air in the room suddenly felt heavy. What are you talking about? I asked. She leaned in, close enough that I could hear her breathing. Patients like you, they come in for something small. Routine. But then the files change. Records disappear. Diagnoses get rewritten. My heart started pounding. That's insane. I thought so too, she whispered. Until I saw it happen. Again. And again. I looked down at the paperwork in my hands. The signature line stared back at me. What happens if I sign? I asked. Her eyes filled with terror. Then you give them permission, she said. And once you do, you can't take it back. I opened my mouth to ask more questions, but before I could. Footsteps. Fast. Heavy. Emily jumped back like she'd been burned. Her face turned white. They're coming, she whispered. Please, just trust me. The door handle moved. She rushed past me, stopped at the doorway, and looked back one last time. If they ask you to sign, she said, her voice breaking, say you need time. Say anything, just don't sign. And then she was gone. The door opened. 2 doctors walked in, smiling. Everything okay in here? One of them asked. I looked down at the papers again. My hands were shaking. Because suddenly, those weren't just documents anymore. They were a decision. And I had no idea what would happen if I made the wrong one. But I was about to find out. Because the next thing they said made my blood run cold, and proved that Emily was right. The doctor's smile was too perfect. The kind that looks comforting, until you realize it never reaches the eyes. Yes, I said slowly. Everything's fine. He glanced at the papers in my hands. Great. Then we just need your signature right here. He pointed to the bottom of the page with a silver pen. My pulse hammered in my ears. I'd like to read it again, I said. The room went quiet. The second doctor, older, taller, tilted his head slightly. His smile faded for half a second, just enough for me to notice. These are standard forms, he said. Everyone signs them. Emily's voice echoed in my head. Don't sign anything. I understand, I replied, forcing calm into my voice. I just want to be sure. The older doctor crossed his arms. There's really no need, it's routine. Routine, that word suddenly felt dangerous. I still need time, I said. The younger doctor exhaled slowly, like I was being difficult. We're very busy. Delaying treatment could be risky. There it was. The pressure, fear wrapped in politeness. What kind of risk? I asked. They exchanged a look. The older doctor stepped closer to the bed. Your condition could worsen without immediate authorization. What condition? I asked. He paused. Then answered too quickly. Internal complications. That didn't match what they'd told me earlier. My stomach tightened. I came in for chest pain, I said. You said it was stress-related. Another pause. Yes, he said, but further tests suggest additional concerns. Which are? I pressed. Silence. The younger doctor cleared his throat. We'll explain everything once the paperwork is complete. That was it. They wanted my signature before answers. Emily was right. I'm not signing, I said. The air in the room shifted. The older doctor's smile vanished completely. Are you refusing medical care? He asked. No, I said. I'm refusing to sign until I understand. His jaw tightened. That's not how this works. I looked him straight in the eye. Then maybe I shouldn't be here. The younger doctor's eyes widened. Leaving now would be irresponsible. Then call my family, I said. Let them hear this. Another glance between them. This time tension. We'll give you a moment, the older doctor said coldly, but don't take too long. They turned and walked out. The door shut. Locked. I rushed to the handle. It didn't move. My breath caught. That's when I noticed something I hadn't before. The camera in the corner of the ceiling. The red light blinking. They were watching. I backed away slowly, heart racing. What kind of hospital locks patients in? What kind of doctors avoid questions? And what kind of place needs permission? Before telling the truth, a soft knock came at the door. Then a familiar whisper. Hey, it's me, Emily. I rushed over as the door cracked open just enough for her face to appear. You don't have much time, she said urgently. They know you're suspicious now. What is this place? I whispered. Her eyes filled with panic. It's not a hospital, she said. It's a filter. A filter for what? I asked. She swallowed hard. For deciding who leaves, and who doesn't. And before I could ask another question, the alarms started screaming, and the doors began to seal shut. The alarms weren't loud at first. They started low, deep, vibrating hums that traveled through the floor and into my bones. Red lights flashed along the hallway outside my room, bleeding through the small glass window in the door. What's happening? I whispered. Emily grabbed my wrist. Her hand was ice cold. Lockdown? She said. They're sealing the wing. For what? I asked. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she pulled me toward the bathroom, her movements fast and desperate. Listen to me, she said. From this moment on, you do exactly what I say, no questions. The alarms grew louder. Metal doors slammed shut somewhere down the corridor. I need answers, I said. Right now. She finally looked at me, really looked at me. People come here because they're vulnerable, she said. Lone. No witnesses, no one asking too many questions. My chest tightened. What do they do to them? She shook her head. Not everyone. Only the ones who qualify. Qualify for what? I demanded. Before she could respond, a voice crackled through the intercom. Patient in room 417, please remain calm. Staff will assist you shortly. That was my room. Emily's face drained of color. They've flagged you, she whispered. Flagged me how? Your refusal to sign triggered a review. My heart pounded. A review of what? She lowered her voice. Your value. I stared at her. My value. Footsteps thundered outside. Multiple sets this time. Heavy. Purposeful. Emily pulled open a panel behind the bathroom mirror. I would have never noticed it on my own. There's a service corridor behind this, she said. Maintenance access. Not on the public maps. You're helping me escape? I asked. Her eyes flicked to the door. I'm helping you survive. The intercom crackled again. Room 417, failure to comply will result in sedation. Sedation. My mouth went dry. They're not supposed to do that, I said. Emily gave a bitter laugh. They're not supposed to do a lot of things. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. A keycard beeped. I whispered. Emily shoved the panel open. Go. Now? What about you? I asked. She hesitated. If I leave my station, they'll know, she said. If I stay, maybe I can slow them down. The door handle turned. Emily, I started. She pushed me toward the dark opening. If you get out, she said, voice cracking, tell someone. Anyone. The door burst open. Doctors, security, masks. I slipped into the corridor just as a hand grabbed Emily's arm. Where's the patient? Someone barked. The panel slid shut behind me. plunging me into darkness. I crawled forward, heart racing, hearing Emily shout, "Stop! You don't understand!" Then a sharp sound, a scream, then silence. I froze. Tears burned my eyes. But I kept moving. Because if I stopped, whatever happened to her would happen to me too. And deep down, I knew something worse was waiting ahead. Something that explained why no one ever talked about this place. Because at the end of that dark corridor, I found the room where the missing patients were taken. The corridor ended in a steel door. No sign, no label, just a red handprint smeared across the metal like someone had tried to stop it from closing. My stomach twisted. I pressed my ear against it. Silence. Slowly, I pushed. The door creaked open. The room inside was massive and freezing. Rows of beds stretched wall to wall, each separated by thin curtains. Machines hummed softly, feeding oxygen, fluids, and something darker into the people lying there. Patients. Dozens of them, all unconscious, all hooked to IV lines labeled with barcodes instead of names. I stepped inside, my breath shallow. This wasn't a recovery ward. It was storage. I moved closer to the nearest bed. The patient's chest rose and fell, but barely. Their skin was pale, almost gray. A monitor displayed a single word over and over, APPROVID. Approved for what? I pulled back the curtain of the next bed. Another patient, different face, same barcode. Same word on the screen. APPROVID. My hands started shaking. Then I saw something worse. A clipboard hanging from the foot of one bed. I grabbed it, flipping through the pages. Names were crossed out, dates erased. Under, outcome. A single stamped phrase repeated again and again, transferred. But transferred where? A low mechanical sound came from the far end of the room. I followed it. Behind a glass wall was another chamber, brighter, cleaner, colder. Inside, surgeons stood over a body. No urgency, no chaos. This wasn't an operation to save a life, it was extraction. Monitors displayed organ compatibility charts, timers, destination codes. This hospital wasn't treating patients. It was harvesting them. A voice spoke behind me. You weren't supposed to see this. I spun around. The older doctor stood there, calm as ever. How long? I asked, my voice breaking. How long have you been doing this? He clasped his hands behind his back, long enough to perfect the process. You're killing people? No. He said smoothly. We're reallocating resources. My blood ran cold. These patients were selected. He continued. No family present. Minimal social footprint. Maximum biological value. And Emily? I shouted. Us she selected too. A flicker crossed his face. She became a liability. Rage surged through me. You used her, I said. And now she's gone. She made a choice, he replied. Just like you did when you refused to sign. I backed away slowly. You'll never get away with this. He smiled. We already have. I felt something press against my neck. A needle. My vision blurred. The last thing I saw before collapsing was a screen lighting up above my bed. My barcode, and the word changing from PNDNG to PPROVID. Because when I woke up I realized I had only 1 hour left to live. I woke up choking. Air rushed into my lungs like I'd been underwater too long. My vision swam, lights blurring above me. A machine beeped steadily beside the bed. Slow, deliberate, like a ticking clock. I tried to move. Straps, my wrists, my ankles, my chest. I was restrained. Panic surged through me. I pulled hard, but the restraints didn't budge. Then I saw the screen mounted above me, bright, unavoidable. A digital timer. Hodovan 5947. My heart slammed against my ribs. 1 hour. Beneath the timer was my barcode, pulsing softly. Below it, a list scrolled automatically. Heart matched liver, reserved kidneys, allocated. I felt sick. They weren't guessing. They had buyers. I turned my head and saw other beds around me. Some occupied. Some empty. One bed to my left was being wheeled away, sheets stained dark red. The timer on that bed read SORAD 100. Flatline. A voice came through a speaker above me. Congratulations, the older doctor said calmly. You've been deemed highly viable. I screamed. You can't do this! We already are, he replied. Your refusal delayed the process, but not enough to stop it. I struggled harder, skin burning against the straps. People will notice I'm gone. He chuckled softly. We've already notified your employer of a sudden medical complication. Your phone has been deactivated. Your digital footprint is being cleaned as we speak. My chest tightened. You don't exist anymore? He said. The screen beeped. 00522218. The door slid open. 2 nurses entered. Faces blank, movements robotic. One carried a tray of surgical tools. The other checked my vitals like she was grocery shopping. Please. I whispered. I know you hear me. She didn't respond. I closed my eyes. And that's when I felt it. A hand squeezing mine. I opened my eyes. Emily. Bruised, pale. Alive. She leaned close, pretending to adjust the IV. Don't look at me, she whispered. They're watching. Hope exploded in my chest. I thought. My voice cracked. So did they, she said. I bought you time. Not much. How? I whispered. She slipped something cold into my palm, a small metal clip. Maintenance override, she said. These restraints unlock for 10 seconds during system sync. When? I asked. Her eyes flicked to the timer. At 30 minutes, she whispered. If you fail, there's no second chance. She straightened up and walked away without another word. The speaker crackled again. Prepare the patient, the doctor said. The lights dimmed. The machines grew louder. I stared at the timer as it dropped below 4500. My hands trembled. Because in 15 minutes, I'd either be free, or I'd be nothing more than spare parts. And what I discovered at the 30-minute mark changed everything I thought I knew about this place. The timer hit 3000. The machines around me went silent. Just for a second. Then every screen in the room flickered. Emily was right. I squeezed the metal clip in my palm, hands slick with sweat. My heart pounded so loud I was sure the cameras could hear it. The restraints clicked. 10 seconds. I ripped my right hand free first, then my left. My skin burned as I tore the straps off my ankles. The final restraint across my chest released with a sharp snap. 9 seconds. I sat up too fast, dizzy, nauseous, but forced myself to move. 8 seconds. I swung my legs off the bed. 7. Alarms didn't sound. 6. I froze. Nothing. 5 seconds. I slipped off the bed and crouched low. 4. 3. 2. The restraints locked again, empty. I exhaled shakily. I was free. I moved fast, staying below camera level, like Emily had shown me earlier. I slipped through a side door marked UTORI0SONELONLY and into another corridor. This one was different. No patients, no machines, just offices, glass walls, soft lighting, expensive furniture. This wasn't a hospital wing, it was corporate. Voices echoed ahead. I followed them, heart hammering, until I reached a large conference room. Inside, several executives sat around a table. Suits, tablets, coffee cups. On the screen behind them was a familiar interface. Timers, barcodes, levs. The next batch ships tonight, one man said casually. Private buyers only. Another laughed. The demand keeps growing. Fear is the best supplier. My blood ran cold. Then the door opened. The older doctor entered the room. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, we have a situation. He turned and looked straight at me. Security guards lunged. I ran. The hallway blurred as I sprinted, alarms finally screaming. Doors slammed shut ahead of me, then opened. Almost like the building was hurting me somewhere. I burst into a room filled with servers, rows and rows of blinking lights. Data, records, lives stored as numbers. Emily was there. She slammed the door behind me. This is it, she said. The heart of the system. What do we do? I gasped. She pointed to a terminal. If we wipe this, the entire operation collapses. No records. No matches. And us. She met my eyes. Why become targets? I hesitated for half a second. Then nodded. She started typing. The screens flashed red. Stem bhdakad. Footsteps thundered outside. Gunmetal slammed into the door. We're running out of time, I said. She hit ENTR. The lights went out. Total darkness. Then the emergency generator kicked in. One screen remained lit. A live feed. The older doctor stood on the other side of the door, smiling. You really thought this system didn't have a backup? He said. My stomach dropped. Because the timer reappeared on the screen. Reset. And this time the countdown was for both of us. The timer started ticking again. 5942. My heart sank. Emily stared at the screen, disbelief flashing across her face. That backup, it wasn't supposed to exist. They planned for betrayal, I said. Metal groaned as the door began to bend inward. Security was forcing it open. We can't stay, I said. Where's the exit? Emily grabbed my hand. This way. We sprinted through a side passage as the door finally gave way behind us. Shouts echoed. Boots pounded the floor. The passage led to a stairwell spiraling downward. Not up. Basement. I yelled. Below the basement. Emily shouted back, logistics. The air grew colder with every level. The walls changed from polished white to raw concrete. Pipes dripped overhead. Warning signs flashed past us. Restricted. We burst into a massive loading bay. Trucks idled in neat rows. Medical crates were stacked like cargo, each stamped with destination codes and time windows. Organs, packaged. Ready. A forklift operator looked up startled. Emily slammed a button on the wall. The bay doors began to rise. Alarms screamed louder. Red lights were washed over everything. There! I shouted, pointing to a narrow service tunnel beyond the trucks. We ran. A shot rang out. Concrete exploded inches from my head. Stop them! Someone yelled. Emily shoved me forward. Don't slow down! Another shot, she stumbled.
Emily!
I yelled. She caught herself on a crate, breathing hard. Blood seeped through her sleeve. I'm okay, she said, but her voice betrayed her. We reached the tunnel entrance. A final door locked. Emily pulled out a keycard with shaking hands. Hurry. More footsteps. Closer. The door beeped red. She whispered. Beep. Green. The door slid open. We rushed inside. The tunnel was narrow and dark, leading upward. Freedom just out of reach. Then a voice echoed behind us. Only one of you needs to leave. The older doctor stepped into the bay, lowered the weapon, expression calm. 2 escapees raise questions, he said. 1 tragic survivor is believable. I felt Emily's grip tighten. Don't listen to him, she whispered. The doctor smiled. Emily, you've already served your purpose. Help us clean this up, and I'll make it quick. I turned to her. We go together. She shook her head slowly. They'll hunt you forever if I come, she said softly. But if I stay, you might actually get out. No, I said. I'm not leaving you. She pressed the keycard into my hand. Someone has to tell the world, she said. That's you. Before I could react, she shoved me into the tunnel and slammed the door shut. EMLA, I screamed. The lock engaged. Through the small window, I saw her turn to face the doctor. Brave, terrified. The last thing I saw before the tunnel lights pulled me upward was her smile. Because I didn't know then that her sacrifice would force me to make an impossible choice. The tunnel spit me out behind the hospital. Cold night air slammed into my lungs like a shock. I collapsed onto wet gravel, coughing, shaking, alive. Behind me, the hidden exit sealed itself shut. No alarms, no lights, no sign that anything had just happened. The hospital stood there quietly clean, bright, innocent, like it always had. I staggered to my feet and ran. I didn't stop until my chest burned and my legs gave out. I ducked behind a row of dumpsters across the street and finally looked down at my hand. The keycard, still there. Emily's blood smeared across its edge. My phone buzzed. Signal. I almost cried. I opened my contacts ready to call the police, and froze. Every contact was gone. Messages erased. Call history wiped. Even my name was missing from the device. Instead, a notification filled the screen. Medical discharge complete. Thank you for choosing Horizon Health. My stomach dropped. They were already rewriting the story. I checked the news. Nothing. No alerts. No reports. No lockdown. No missing patients. It was like the night never happened. I backed away from the hospital, heart pounding. That's when another message came through. Unknown sender. You made the right choice. Walk away. Forget. I typed back with shaking hands. You murdered people. The reply came instantly. We saved more than we lost. Emily understood that in the end. My vision blurred with rage. I attached a photo, the keycard, the blood, the timestamp. I'm going to expose you. This time, the response took longer. When it came, it was just one line. Then she died for nothing. I felt something break inside me. I looked back at the hospital one last time. People were walking in and out, laughing, trusting, signing papers. I realized then what Emily had really given me. Not freedom. Responsibility. Because I was the only proof left. And proof doesn't matter unless someone believes it. My phone buzzed again. Another message. This one sent my blood cold. Check your timer. A new app appeared on my screen. Uninstalled apps began restoring themselves automatically. A familiar interface loaded. A countdown. ODAS 2311, my barcode flashed beneath it. They hadn't let me go. They had just changed the rules. Because now the question wasn't how to survive, but how to end this before time runs out. OOs in 258. The timer ticked down as I ran, not away this time, toward the only place they couldn't fully control. People. I ducked into a crowded 24-hour cafe 2 blocks from the hospital. Warm lights. Voices. Life. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped my phone. I sat near the window, plugged my phone into a charger, and opened the app. The interface was live. Vitals. Location. Heart rate. They were tracking me. If I disappeared again, I'd just become another erased file. So I did the one thing they didn't expect. I went public. Title. This ospakal ishar vistai kupali pro of iansidi. Viewers trickled in 10, 50, 100. My voice shook as I spoke. If you're watching this, and it cuts off, remember this place. Horizon Health. Comments flooded. Fake. Conspiracy. Where's the proof? I flipped the camera and showed the keycard. The blood. The timer. Scan this place, I said. Look at the records they buried. Look at the patients who never left. The timer hit zone of 1500. A message popped up on my screen. Unknown sender. You're making a mistake. My phone overheated. The livestream stuttered. Wi-Fi dropped. I switched to mobile data. Share this. I begged the viewers. Download it. Save it. The cafe door opened. Men in jackets walked in. Too coordinated. Too calm. Security. My pulse spiked on the screen. The timer sped up. Zodadai 42. One of the men spoke quietly into his sleeve. Another message appeared. Final warning. I stood up, heart pounding. If I stopped talking, it's because they stopped me. People in the cafe were staring now. Phones out. Recording. Good. The men moved closer. The timer hit 0500. My screen flashed red. Card AC ventiaictid. My chest tightened. Pain bloomed. They weren't coming to drag me away. They were going to let my body fail. I gasped, gripping the table. Emily, I whispered. The livestream comments exploded. Call 911, someone help him. Too many eyes. Sirens wailed in the distance, not theirs, real ones. The countdown slowed. 0112. The cafe erupted into chaos as paramedics burst in. The men backed away. The livestream kept running. And just before my vision went dark, the timer froze. Because the world finally saw the truth. But I had no idea if I'd live long enough to face the consequences. I woke up to silence. Not the cold, mechanical silence of the hospital, but a human one. Soft beeping. Curtains are moving gently. Voices outside my room. Sunlight. Real sunlight. A police officer stood near the door. 2 detectives sat at a small table, reviewing a tablet. A nurse, older this time, calm, noticed my eyes open and smiled. You're safe, she said quietly. Safe. The word felt unfamiliar. What happened? I whispered. One of the detectives stood. Your live stream went viral. Millions of views in under an hour. He turned the tablet toward me. Headlines, screenshots, clips. Hospital accused of illegal organ trade. Whistleblower nurse identified. Horizon Health under federal investigation. My chest tightened. Emily. The room went still. The detective nodded slowly. She saved dozens of people. Her testimony, what we recovered, cracked the entire operation. Recovered. She didn't make it out. He added gently. But she made sure no one else disappeared. Tears slid down my face. I remembered her words. Someone has to tell the world. The detective leaned forward. They built the system to make people sign away their rights without knowing. You refusing to sign, that's what broke the pattern. I let out a shaky laugh. All this, because of one signature. He nodded. Because you didn't give it. A few days later they brought me a document. Official. Legal. Transparent. It wasn't a consent form. It was a statement. One that would put my name on record forever. Expose everything. End it for good. I picked up the pen. And this time I signed. Horizon Health was shut down within weeks. Executives arrested. Doctors stripped of licenses. Hidden wings uncovered. Patients reunited with families who had already mourned them. The world moved on. But I didn't. Because now I notice things most people don't. The way doctors rush signatures. The way fear is used to silence questions. The way systems count on trust and punish doubt. Emily's voice still echoes in my head. Don't sign anything. Just trust me. So if there's one thing I want you to remember from this story, it's this: never sign your power away just because someone tells you to. Never stop asking questions, and never assume the system always works in your favor. Because sometimes, the most dangerous decision isn't what you do, it's what you agree to. If this story made you think even for a second, hit likey so more people see it. Subes Scarby if you believe truth matters, and SAR this because someone out there is about to sign something they shouldn't. Stay aware, stay questioning, and never ignore the whisper that says, don't sign.